Down with Tara Sundem. Now, Tara, I want to get all into your story, but for those of you that are just tuning in, Tara started an incredible organization called Hushabye Nursery, which helps babies who are exposed to opioids in the womb. They come out of the womb and they are in drug withdrawals. Correct. And Tara, you have started what I believe is unprecedented. Are you the first in the nation of this type of treatment?
We're the first in the nation for the baby and including family services under the same roof. There were two other organizations back east that were doing the baby, but not very trauma informed at the time. And we weren't all looking at family centered care. Now we've learned that, oh, by golly, if we want to really help these babies, we need to help their families. And we need to get the parents well and get them the resources so that we can really keep families unified. Babies withdraw easier with their moms and their dads. And that's really hard to always believe. But when you see it, you go, biology. Got it. It does work.
They're connected.
Yeah.
So for those who've never heard of Hushabye Nursery or of you, Tara, which you are a neonatal nurse practitioner, tell us the origin story. Where were you when you decided, hey, I feel a need for this, I need to do this, and how did Hushabye Nursery get started?
Yeah, 2015, 16, right around there. I had always worked in level 3 NICUs, so babies that were dollar bill size. That's the clientele that I took care of. I took care of these little ones that were withdrawing, but it was like on an admission. I would look at them, do their assessment, do their paperwork, and then they were an afterthought. And I ended up needing to move hospitals closer to my home so that I could be with my kids and just be more available. And I went to Banner Baywood at the time, and it's a little 6-bed nursery, not busy at all, but busy with babies that were withdrawing. 6-bed unit, 5 or 6 babies withdrawing all the time.
Wow.
And that's kind of my community. That's like where I live. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And it wasn't just like every now and then. This was a continuous cycle. And I call over to the different hospitals and I'm like, how many babies do you have withdrawing? They're like, I don't know. And I'm like, no, I need you to really like count. How many babies do you have? And just in the East Valley, we'd have 18 to 24 at like 5 or 6 hospitals, Chandler Regional, Banner Desert.
That's a lot.
Yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so one of my best friends, Kelly Woody, was frustrated like me and just going, we could do this better. We should do this better. These babies deserve better. And she was watching the Today Show, saw Lily's Place in West Virginia, on being interviewed, and they'd taken the babies out of the NICUs and put them in their own little nursery. And we were like, we need to do that here. Yeah, let's do that. So we went and visited. They kind of told us like, these are the challenges. These are the, what's been hard. We can't get paid by insurance companies. Still have problems with that. They're telling us, and we're like, okay. So we come back to Arizona and we're like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to get a building donated, just like Lily's Place. This is going to be simple, easy. And how do you do that when you're nurses without a business background and you honestly don't have a clue? We didn't know what we were getting into.
Right.
I was like, sure, Kelly, yeah, good idea. Let's do this. And honestly, like when we were doing it, I had like a lot of pause and praying and going, okay, what do I need to do this? Is God, give me a sign. And 3 sermons in a row, I finally in church, I was like, oh, this is my sign. You're talking about 3 times telling me that if doors are always easy to open, then maybe you're not taking the risks and what you need to do. And I'm like, okay, 3 times it took me to understand that that's what I was supposed to do. And so moving forward with that, we were just researching everything we possibly could. And one night I was Googling substance use, and I come across Governor Ducey's meeting minutes from his substance abuse task force. I was like, what in the world is this? And this is, the opioid crisis finally getting into the news. At that time, we ended up looking at the meeting minutes, and Dr. Glenn Watercotty, who trained me, was in there. And I'm like, so I called Glenn and I'm like, what is this? this is what Kelly and we think we want to do. We'd worked with him for years, and he was like, you need to come and present. And we're like, okay. So we go to, the governor's whatever place and whatever you call that, the Capitol.
Yeah.
And we're like, two nurses don't know what we're doing. And we tell them what we want. And they ask us, so what about the moms? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about the moms. I know babies. And honestly, at this time, kind of didn't really care about the moms.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say that, but I was seeing the babies. I only took care of babies. I didn't understand family-centered care. I didn't understand the trauma that was impacted on babies born and then being taken away from their parents.
Right.
I didn't understand that. And we left, and we were like, okay. When we left in these task force meetings, no one's supposed to reach out to you that are on the board, and we had four.
Oh,
four
wow.
that
made an impact.
Yeah, that they were like sliding us their cards. So like, get a hold of us. This is what we need. And I'm like, okay. So we ended up meeting them, and they connected me with Vitalis Foundation for fiscal sponsorship, who really at the very beginning helped us kind of figure out how to be business people. Like, you're going to do a budget. I mean, my budget had 10 things on it. I was like, oh, okay, this is the budget. I had no clue.
We need some pillows.
Yeah, it's like, a couple beds.
Right.
We're going to need 12 nurses, whatever. It was nothing. And they had started connecting us to community members. And I had someone early on at the very beginning say that when you go to a meeting, ask for 5 more contacts. And when they give you 5 more contacts, you follow up with them and you meet them. And now, I mean, a lot of people are like, yep, I've heard Tara, because I'm kind of a pain in the butt. And I just keep bugging you until you let me come and tell you what I need, what the problem is, and how can you help me?
Right. Well, I mean,
it's essentially it.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil. And if
yes.
you need the oil and it's for a great cause, you need that.
Yeah.
So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And so then fast forward 2019, one of the recovery centers here, Community Medical Services, received a grant to start a pregnancy program. And their, I think CEO, Nick Stavros, I think that's his title, had heard about what we were doing from another client that ended up telling him their story. And they had transferred from one of the recovery centers that I was doing one group once a month to pregnant moms and telling them like what it's going to look like with your baby when they withdraw. And what we found was the first 12 moms that I worked with, it was just me for 1 hour once a month. Out of the 12 moms that we worked with, 9 took their babies home.
Wow.
And it was like, oh my, okay, this is making something. Well, then the other recovery center got a grant to start a pregnancy program, and they reached out. And they're like, will you do this? I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but sure, we'll come and do this while I'm trying to get the nursery up and running. And started doing it. Served 134 pregnant moms and dads if they were engaged, all during COVID, all virtual. Initially, I was going to like 5 different recovery centers a week, and then COVID hit, and I was like, well, this is not going to happen. We're done. My families don't have access. They don't have phones. There's no way this is going to happen. And did a group a day, virtually, had 12 to 24 people on.
Wow.
Every day. And then we ended up, my board of directors, who are amazing, just best heart, loving, kind, really, really smart people. Little by little, I'm meeting them. And their thing is we just need one funder to just get us in that tipping. And talking with Jamie Schneider, director of Access, previous director, she was like, okay, we have this grant funding. We could help you get all the equipment, everything for the nursery, but you need to have a building. And the Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation listened to our story, listened to it 2 or 3 times. And all of a sudden, one night, I get a call from Laura Mitchell, their, I think, executive director, CEO. And she's like, they want to fund you. And I did the ugly cry. I told her, oh my gosh, and then I got my board on the phone. I was like, you will not believe this. And so in November 2020, we opened our doors, and since we've served almost 800 babies.
Wow.
So in just a little over 3 years, we're working with 116 pregnant moms right now. Just got those numbers this morning. Um, uh, the needs there. And what we do find is those families that are connected with us prenatally, 74% of those families are taking their babies home safely. Now, does that mean that they're not having oopsies or lapses in recovery? It doesn't mean that. It means we have the support systems and the safety measures in place, meaning extended family, extended friends that are safe, that are ensuring that this baby is okay, but allowing their parents to be there when they're well to raise them. And I can't wait. I have my first set of little ones going to kindergarten this year. I'm hoping to get some statistics as far as, let's just, if it's even a dozen babies, let's see, what does it look like when they do kindergarten roundup? Can they all jump on their right foot? Oh, they can't. Huh. They all have glasses. Okay. This population is not a population that we've really studied. Now, with the fentanyl crisis exploding, everyone's jumping on board now.
And because it's such a prevalent problem, you've got to see people maybe a little hesitant to help because they think, oh, these people are just addicts. They're going to fall back into things. Maybe it's not going to help.
That's the stigma that is out there that really creates the barrier to care. And when I mean that families, no one when they're 4 years old goes, I want to grow up, be dependent on a substance, and lose my family and my friends and my baby. No one does that.
Right.
And we forget about that. And so if we all would, the community, everyone would understand that opiate use disorder, aka addiction to opiates or to substances, really is a brain disease. It's a chronic illness. It is not a moral failure. Maybe initially we started with, we were partying and we were popping blues or whatever they're calling them now. Maybe that's where it started. And then all of a sudden you go, oh gosh, I get sick if I'm not taking these. And when I mean sick, one mom explained to me withdrawal is the worst. Flu and migraine times 100.
Jeez.
Vomiting, diarrhea, inability to sleep, fevers, chills, hypersensitive to everything. That's what we see in babies. The exact same thing. They can't tell us if they have migraines, but they definitely are struggling and in pain.
That's
it's
so
hard.
sad.
Yeah, it is.
I can't even imagine seeing a baby go through that, let alone seeing as many as you did, Tara. If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Tara Sundem from Hushabye Nursery. You guys treat babies who are exposed to substances in the womb, and you help the families, mom, dad, if they're involved, get through this incredibly difficult time. It's such incredible work that you do. I'm so grateful for that. Tara, bring us to what what you'd be feeling when you're in the hospital experiencing this.
Yeah, it was more so the fact that we didn't have the right environment. We put babies that are withdrawing in with other babies that are unwell. So the neonatal intensive care unit was developed, bright lights, beeping monitors, all this equipment to save babies' lives that have breathing issues, heart issues, they're born premature. It's for us to save their lives. It is not the environment for withdrawal. If you and I have the worst flu or migraine, we go in our rooms, we turn on the lights, we hope to goodness, you put the air AC down, you get it as cold as you can, and you cover up and you hope that you fall asleep. When you wake up, you feel better. For a baby, we put them in the bright lights beeping monitors and we go, fall asleep, get through this. You just fall asleep, and the baby that is born premature, everybody runs to save that baby, and this one wakes up and cries and cries and cries. They're not going to die. The one that is less than $1, less than a pound is. And so we don't get to them. And frustration with that. Frustration with when I was in the NICU and you gave me a baby that was going to cry for 12 hours straight, which is what was going to happen. The next day I got there early before my shift, and when I did say this, I've done my time, I'm not doing that baby again. I want this other assignment, give it to someone else. And when we go to be in the NICU as nurses and neonatologists, we like the adrenaline rush. We want to like save lives. Look what I do. Not hold a screaming big baby for 12 hours and not do a great job, meaning they can't do a great job because they have 2 other babies that they have to care for. And it's not rewarding to leave your shift that you've worked so hard for and feel like I saved these other 2, but this one I really didn't do a good job. And so that was kind of the kicker. We would find that certain providers, certain nurses, between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., we'd give more morphine to help them withdraw. When you give a dose of morphine for any baby, you have an extra 48-hour stay for every dose that you give. And so when you're doing that, you're looking at babies. My longest baby that was with me was 4 months.
Wow. When you give them the morphine, does that just extend the withdrawals?
I don't know that it extends the withdrawals. It helps them get over the hump. Withdrawal's not easy, but you make it that they can de-escalate, get to the point that, okay, now I can sleep and I can heal. But you definitely have extended it a little bit.
Okay.
But it's what they need to get through the process. And so many families will be like, I don't want them to have them anymore. And I'm like, okay, but that is not humane. We have to give them a medication. If we've tried a developmental bath, we're holding them 24/7. We're in a quite dark environment. We're doing all of the things. And if they don't work, we have to do that, because the worst thing they could do is have a seizure, and seizures have horrible outcomes. And so we there's a fine line there.
I mean, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Tara, what do you think is the biggest difference, or what sort of sets apart the care of Hushabye Nursery from the hospital?
I think that in the hospital, we do what we can with the resources that we have. The difference of Hushabye is I have one-to-one caregivers. I have caregivers that choose to work with this population. You're not filling out an application to work for Hushabye if you don't want to work with substance abuse impacted families. I mean, yeah, you may be filling it out to work with the babies, but guess what? Moms and dads come with those babies. And so it's that trauma-informed environment, number one. We have private rooms, which a lot of hospitals have private rooms. But being trauma-informed and making families feel like we need you here. Moms are the best medicine. Really being able to pull that off. You have to believe it, because our families trust no one. Why would they trust anyone? They've not been treated well. They just don't.
Well, because they've got to feel like they're going to be judged wherever they go, because there's a little bit of shame that probably I imagine would come along with it.
Yep.
I think it would be, I mean, you guys are angels to work in that situation, because I do think it would be really hard to not go, well, you were on the drugs and then you got pregnant. You didn't get off the drug, like that mentality, just to be tender enough to show them love and show them, listen, you're needed here. So we're here to help you pull it together, and it's possible and it's necessary, is really incredible work.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I think I look at like my moms and dads right now, they're like my kids' age. And if my boys were in this situation, how would maybe I wouldn't be able to get to them and get them well, but maybe someone else would say the right thing at the right time. They had that little glimmer of hope, and they got them well. And that's what my team has been able to do for so many moms and dads. I can't wait to get to work today. I have a mom that I worked with prenatally unwell for her first baby, and now she just had her second baby well and doing is great. And I'm like, I am so going to run in there, because you see them succeed all the time.
I love that. I mean, hearing success stories is always really encouraging. Tara, what are some of the resources that you provide for families that come in and decide to accept treatment from you?
I have 4 peer supports. 3 of them have been through my program, or our program. And so we have 2 moms that have been through our program, and a daddy. And so I met them unwell, and now they are rocking it. They will be the first person when a mom comes to Hushabye, they'll be like, I've been there. Look at me. Now I work here. I'm helping you. And they give them a tour and they just kind of give them hope. They share their story. Housing, food, transportation, and then jump on one of our groups. If you do a group, you earn hush money. Funny. And then they can shop in our little donation closet, which they can get diapers and wipes and baby items that the community has donated for us. You can actually care for your baby, have everything that you absolutely need for your baby if you do our groups prenatally. While you work on your recovery, you don't need to work. And so when we're doing that, I'm like, focus on you and baby. Let's get you well. Don't worry about all of this other stuff. Let's do this. We work with the health department and DCS. We have free car seats. We do a car seat safety program, and then we have free pack and place, so they have a crib. We do unsafe sleep so that they understand co-bedding's not safe, all of the risks, all of those things. It's a really good program, even if you didn't have substance use.
I would have
wanted. I would have wanted. We have a triple P parenting class, which honestly, everyone should do that. Who knew? I'm like, boy, my boys turned out good. I wonder how good they would have really turned out if I would have parented the way that we teach our families.
That's so funny because when my daughter was born and they sent us home, I was like, no, I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything.
I know. It's like you just taught me how to do a diaper and you're letting me take this baby home.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, the 9 days that those families are with us, they've said, they're like, thank you for helping me learn how to care for my baby. And we're not, when they put the diaper on backwards, we're laughing with them. It's not oh my gosh, you put the diaper on backwards.
Yeah.
Yesterday I had a mom trying to figure out the Dr. Brown bottle. And she goes, I haven't had to put it together like this. And I go, oh yeah, you put that in there and then you just twist. And she goes, oh, I was trying to stick it up into the lid. And she's like, oh yeah, that didn't work.
They're complicated bottles.
Who would know? You have to YouTube and be like, okay, I didn't know how that was supposed to work. But yeah. And so really just meeting families where they're at. What can I help you with? And treating them the way we would want to be treated or the way we would want our family members treated. And that's not judgy, with respect, and just realizing that there are going to be oopsies, up and down, highs and lows. And if there are oopsies, have we built the trust with the moms and the dads to call us and say that there were oopsies? That mom called me and said she needed help. She knew her baby was safe. She was devastated, but she trusted me enough to call. And that's what's different about Hushabye. In the hospital, our focus is baby. It's not mom. We don't know behavioral health. We don't understand substance use. I didn't know it.
Yeah.
I've now learned it, and I learn every single day. But that's by being open-minded, asking a lot of questions. And when I ask questions, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's, I had no idea about that. Please explain more. I have had that where my jaw drops and I'm like telling my moms and dads, I'm like, okay, I'm not judging. I just need to process this a little bit.
Right.
But I've built that trust of they understand that I'm not judging. I just had no idea. I have no idea what it is to live on the streets and not know where food is coming from and to struggle like that. I was very entitled.
What do you feel that you see the biggest struggle is for your moms and dads and babies that come through your program?
Having hope.
Wow.
That's my biggest thing is I'm like, yeah, I could say housing, I could say food, I could say all of that, but it just the hope of thinking that they really could get well. And they're just like, I've tried. And they just don't think that there's any way. And our families love their babies. I have not met a mom or a dad that doesn't love their baby. I mean, they want what's best, and sometimes at the point that where they're at, they're not right at that moment. And some families decide, maybe I need to place baby with my family or consider adoption. Resources. If family comes to that solution, we're helping them too.
Do you help
Um,
patients like afterwards?
yeah,
Are they going to counseling to help with those mental
yep.
health issues as well?
Yeah, we have therapists. We have a substance abuse counselor and then a licensed therapist that will help. And then we use our community partners. So if someone has schizophrenia or something like that, that is not us. We don't. We will do a referral. We'll make sure that they're there, and they can do our parenting classes. They can still do like the things that we are the experts in, but we use all of the community partners that do really, really good work, for housing and food and transportation. St. Vincent de Paul, Midwest Food Bank, Child Crisis, New Leaf, all of them we're using daily. Going, okay, we need your help with this. But what's different with us is we do the navigation for them. We help them succeed. I don't just give them a list of 15 places to call. Like, here you go, here, call these places. They don't have phones or they can't charge their phone. How are they supposed to do that?
Right.
And then you need them to fill out a 15-page intake form. The barriers are endless. Just continually go on and on.
Well, and you say you have community partners. So since we are spreading this into the community, if someone out there is listening and they want to help in any way, what are things that people or businesses can do to help Hushabye Nursery?
Yeah. Number one, I would say just spreading the word. Like, talk about what you just heard today and be like, oh my gosh, you need to listen to this podcast. You need to hear this, because you never know when you're going to be in that situation that someone needs our services. Refer any family that's pregnant or parenting, so they could already have their baby that has substance use, that are struggling. They can do our groups. We hold 50 to 60 groups virtually and a couple of them in person every week. And then volunteering. We do need baby cuddlers. Right now, we're really looking for baby cuddlers for night shift. And then, of course, we're a nonprofit. So we're perfect right now. Tax credit. If you're doing your taxes, if you're $400 or $800, sure would do a huge amount of service to our community. I can guarantee every penny will go back to our babies and our moms and dads. So if you consider that is on our website. That's easy. Just one baby's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it really pays to be generous in these situations. I know, Tara, you also said you are looking for corporate sponsors as well. So if you are listening right now and you want to get involved in Hushabye Nursery, it's such an incredible organization. You can head to their website. It's hushabyenursery.org. Tara, thank you so much for sharing the amazing work that you're doing at Hushabye Nursery.
Thank you so much for the time.